And now Representative Rivas from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman McCormick and Ranking Member Sykes. First, I join my colleagues in expressing condolences to the family of my fellow freshman colleague, Sylvester Turner. He will be missed by all of us. I'd like to start by taking a moment of personal privilege and thank Dr. Zuber for appearing before the subcommittee today. As an MIT alum myself, it gives me great pride to see an MIT professor discussing the importance and the challenges facing the scientific community and the research ecosystem. Over the last 7 weeks, we have seen a complete disruption and attack to one of America's pillars for the future, our scientific and academic community. Our research ecosystem depends on a steady stream of educated experts. As co-chair of the bipartisan STEM Education Caucus, I take great pride in America's leadership to produce the next generation of researchers and scientists of the future. The future will only come from early and continued STEM investments in every zip code in America. I have spent most of my career engaging and preparing students, American students, to get into STEM fields. It's our responsibility to provide the current and future workforce with the tools to innovate and create technological solutions and emerging and essential technologies and industries like AI, healthcare, and the environment. However, a major threat to U.S.-funded research is this administration's reckless actions that include layoffs of about 800 employees at NOAA, up to 2,000 employees at the Department of Energy, and more than 150 employees at the National Science Foundation. Despite those dizzying acts against our nation's science core, one of the most worrying cuts has been the NIH policy capping indirect cost at 15%. I worry about the capacity of smaller institutions to keep up, and that concern has only grown in recent weeks as I hear from constituents and organizations serving my district. Indirect costs are expenditures that aren't tied directly to research staffing or supplies, but they nonetheless support infrastructure and activities that are vital to the function of research institutions. The reality is that this is a drastic reduction in reimbursement that will result in more than $800 million in cuts for my home state of California. This will devastate the development of life-saving research, inhibit patient access to groundbreaking treatments and clinical trials, and will cede American dominance in biomedical research to our foreign competitors like China, Russia, and Iran for years to come. Dr. Zuber, I've joined my colleagues in 2 letters to the acting NIH director expressing my deep concerns on these NIH cuts and how they will impact my state and district. Can you elaborate on how these cuts will impact research universities' ability to compete and how you anticipate smaller institutions will be impacted?
Okay, thank you very much. A lot of thoughts there, and thank you for raising the indirect cost, because people don't understand indirect costs, okay? It's whether a cost is a direct cost or an indirect cost, that's determined by uniform guidance. Both are the costs of doing research. You could put it in one column or you could put it in the other column, but that's what it costs, okay? If we don't get the indirect cost reimbursement, the larger schools that have endowments have to use their endowments to cover that. And at MIT, we already, I won't say subsidize, I will say co-invest in research 100%, okay? So our research volume, we put in an equal amount from our endowment to kind of double the impact from the federal and other funding that we receive. Schools with either smaller schools or R1 research institutions with small endowments, especially those with medical centers, don't have any funds to draw on, okay? So we would do less research, okay? So less impact in the world, and MIT grads have started, as you know, tens of thousands of companies, okay? But for schools without endowments and have medical schools, they're going to be out of business, okay? And these are economic drivers in their areas and important educational institutions producing the workforce for tomorrow. So the impacts are potentially huge.
Thank you. With that, I yield back.
Thank you. And next we will recognize Representative